Good morning, Brick Hollow fourth graders. We are on lesson 15 of Connected and Respected. Our lesson today is dealing with bullying behavior. For our gathering, sharing our experiences, students, think about a time when you witnessed bullying behavior. With a partner, talk about what they considered to be bullying behavior. Share your definitions of bullying behavior. Okay, so teachers, once they've had a minute or two to share with a partner, then ask for volunteers to share their definition. Remember, students, we're not talking about any person in particular. We're not naming names. We're just focusing on our behavior, or on the behavior. Moving into our agenda check. What effect does this kind of behavior have on us, on our classroom, on our school? In our discussion today, as we can see on our agenda, we're going to look at bullying behavior and then play a game in which we decide on a good way to deal with it. In our debriefing, we'll talk about what might be hard when dealing with bullying behavior, and then for our closing, we'll make some decisions about what actions we might take when we see this behavior in our classroom and our school. Our first activity is talking about bullying behavior. Students, why do you think there are so many articles in newspapers and so many TV stories about bullying behavior? Remember, bullying behavior doesn't just include teasing, name-calling, making fun of someone, or hurting someone physically, but also threatening them and excluding them or leaving them out of a group is also considered bullying behavior. Students, do you think that everyone has felt like they've been bullied at one time or another? Do you think that many people have been bystanders? That is, that they stood and watched while others were the targets of this behavior? Why do you think this is so? Remember that people often feel powerless to stop bullying behavior because they don't know what to do. They may be afraid to speak up because they don't want to become targets as well. However, bystanders who do not speak up are not blameless. They can contribute to bullying behavior by not saying or doing anything. On the other hand, they can help targets of bullying behavior by speaking up or taking other actions. Some actions will be discussed in this next activity. So moving into our next activity is called bullying busting game. Students, what are some of the things that we can do or say when we see bullying behavior? Teachers, if you could make a list as students brainstorm either on the board or on chart paper, what are the things that they can do when they or someone they see is being hurt or bullied? Okay, again, remember, we're only focusing on the behavior. We're not naming any specific people. So focus on things like walking away or getting an adult. Maybe befriending the target and inviting them to join your group or your game. Okay? Sometimes confronting the person who is doing the bullying behavior is not a good idea. And if a situation is dangerous, it's especially important to get an adult. However, if the perpetrator, the person doing the bullying, is someone's friend, it can be appropriate to say something like, "Hey, that's not nice. Quit doing that." The bully busting game is an opportunity to practice with scenarios. So students, teachers, you decide, have them stand in a circle or in two lines facing each other. And they're going to act like robots and stand with their arms straight out without moving. The only time when they move is when they are ready to respond. And they need to be activated by extending their robot arm up. And then the person can tap their hand to listen to their speech. So only one robot will be talking at a time. Okay, so I'm going to read several scenarios and then I will tap, or the teacher will tap a robot that's ready. Okay, so your first scenario, someone calls you a name. Think about how you would respond to stop the bullying. Our next scenario, someone calls someone else a name. Our third scenario, someone says you can't sit with them at lunch. Someone says that he wants to start a game at recess but doesn't want a certain person to participate. Someone teases someone else about speaking with an accent. Okay? Moving into debriefing. What was difficult about thinking up responses? Sometimes it is difficult, but the more we practice and the more we do it, the easier it becomes. Which responses do you think you can begin to use? How might playing this game help our school? Has anyone ever spoken up and helped you? Remember that reporting an incident of bullying behavior is not telling on someone or tattling. If you think someone is being targeted, it is the responsibility of all members of a caring classroom and a caring school to make sure everyone is respected and feels safe. Remember in the library when we talked about bullying, we talked about how you don't have to go and tattle or snitch, but you can ask an adult to be in a certain place where you know it's happening. We talked about how to do that. Finally, our closing, what we can do now. Students, you're going to share with a partner one new way of dealing with bullying behavior that you've learned or have been reminded about in this lesson. And then teachers have some volunteers share once they've had time to share with their partners. I hope everybody has an amazing week. We have 2 weeks left until our Christmas break. My bucket filler bucket is getting kind of empty. I haven't had many bucket fillers names come in. So remember to be working on your best behavior, respecting others in your classroom, especially your teachers. They're working hard, and try to earn those bucket fillers and those beaver bucks as well. Have a great week.